Hello, my name is James Mullen, and this is a brief video about my current exhibition, Landscape as Icon, at the Rochester Museum of Fine Arts in the Bernier Room. These selection of works are part of a body of work that focuses on destination landscapes, that are landscapes that have long attracted artists and tourists to them for their unique offerings. Over the last 200 years, people have traveled to see destination landscapes, which are often the site of natural wonders. Many of these destinations remain available to us now at the dawn of the 21st century, and I've sought them out and created works based on those personal experiences on site. My visits to these sites represents an opportunity for me to create a personal connection to that history that is unmediated by other artists and conventions. In New England, one of these iconic sites, perhaps the most famous of them, is the Oxbow of the Connecticut River near Northampton, Massachusetts. This is a painting by Thomas Cole from 1836 that represents a view of that is now part of a state park which is still available and still very popular almost 200 years later. Cole was the head of the Hudson River School and a huge influence on how people visualized the landscape in the 19th century. And this is my response to it. This is a painting that I did based on a visit during a summer day, as you can tell from some of the light and some of the haziness to the landscapes. It's a little bit more difficult to see the articulation of the oxbow compared to the time of Thomas Cole, but it was a wonderful view up there, and I love the expansiveness of that view, and it seemed to really lend itself to a horizontal format. Another very famous location in the western part of the United States is the Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. Many of the works that were created by the artist Thomas Moran were hugely influential in the efforts by Congress to have the area declared the first national park in American history. This one of the Castle Geyser and the Upper Geyser Basin, you can start to see a little bit of the color and the palette of the thermal pools that were so unusual. Several years ago when I visited the park in early May, on my first day there when I woke up, there was 4 inches of snow across this thermal landscape. So it was very unexpected, it was very beautiful, and it was very otherworldly at the same time. And as I navigated through it, the range of the colors were just very fantastic. In the American Southwest, perhaps one of the most iconic landscapes in that region is Monument Valley. It's a desolate landscape that has been featured in endless movies, including this still from the classic Western The Searchers by John Ford. During my visit to Monument Valley, it coincided with the passing of a late afternoon thunderstorm in the spring. And immediately following it, there was a spectacular revealing of the sun and a rainbow that cascaded over the landscape of these protruding buttes. A little bit closer to home, I've always loved the marsh paintings of the 19th century American painter Martin Johnson Head. Many of the marsh paintings that he was known for were based on the coastal regions of New England. This is one of several that he did based on Newburyport, Massachusetts. And this is my painting from the marshes near there. This is a site near the Parker River in Rowley, Massachusetts, just below Newburyport, at low tide and a late afternoon light. And very beautiful setting with the reflection of the light in the mud. On the east coast of the United States, one of the most iconic landscape destinations is likely Mount Desert Island in Maine, in down East Maine. It's the home of Acadia National Park, and it's been a destination for over 200 years of people from all over to sail and see the natural wonders of these cliffs that jut out of the Penobscot Bay and the Frenchman's Bay. This is a view of a series of caves located around the perimeter of the island that are only revealed at low tide, that have been washed away by the thousands of years of the water and created these caves into the side of these cliffs. And they've been known since the 19th century as the ovens. This final work is a little bit different. It gets its own wall in the exhibition. And that's because it's not a naturally occurring landscape like all of the others, but it's a sculpted one. It's a synthetic one. And it's the product of Frederick Law Olmsted. Olmsted and Calvert Vaux designed Central Park in the 19th century in the middle of New York City. And they designed it to address the recreational needs of a rapidly growing metropolis. It's widely regarded as a masterpiece of landscape architecture. And even today, still, hundreds of thousands of people yearly sojourn into there for an experience of nature in the heart of such a huge city of 8 million people. And I still find it very beautiful. And this is the Gapstone Bridge that's down on the southeast corner of the park near 62nd Street. Finally, I'd just like to take a moment and say thank you very much to all the wonderful people at the Rochester Museum for this opportunity to share my works with everybody. And I'd like to extend special thanks to Amy Marie Regan and Matt Wyatt, who have been very encouraging and very patient and did a wonderful job with the installation. So thank you very much. If you're interested in seeing any other works and seeing these again, my website is jamesmullen.net. If you want to follow things in a more temporal manner, you could go to Instagram, and I occasionally post on there under the header of Jim Mullen 7. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you get a chance to see the show.